So in terms of looking for opportunities, the windows do close early, and one of the biggest problems with people I know who ask me for advice on applying is they don't really know enough about the places they want to apply, when the deadlines are, or even to what these companies do particularly, or who their clients are. So for me, there's kind of no real substitute for being well informed or having done your research. If you've done those things, then you can go into interviews and present yourself at firm presentations, or confidently send emails, or network with people, knowing full well that you're aware of what that company does, and you can really express that. And that's something that can really help you stand out compared to candidates who take a bit longer to read and research a firm. So I think it's absolutely paramount to understanding what it is you're going to be going into, not only for yourself, but also to convey that to a recruiter, that you have what it takes to succeed at that firm because you know exactly what it is that they do.
I think with the starting early, one of the first things you got to do is just make sure you know the industry inside out. So that is whether it's in law, research and practice areas, or consultancy, different areas of consultancy, go into management, strategy, etc. And then later than that, one sort of cheat which I used was Google Alerts. So you go into Google, type in Google Alerts, and you can type in firm names that you're applying to. And then all the news stories in the news at the moment will be emailed to your email address. You can choose once a week, every day, whatever. And then I would always put those into a separate folder. Then if I got an interview at that firm, I had a list of news stories from the last 6 months perhaps. So it's a great cheat to do. And another thing is, if you've got a subscription to the Financial Times, there's a blog called The First FT, so that gives you a rundown of all the day's sort of key business news, which you can sort of read in 5 minutes. And sort of getting that commercial awareness is really important sort of if you're going to a city firm.
I think Twitter is also a really good source of information. So when I was still applying for jobs, I would follow things like The Economist, The Times, and the particular firms that I were interested in, because then you have much more condensed, just going through maybe once a day and maybe favoriting the ones that you want to read later, and then just go when you have the time to go into it more depth. It gives you kind of overview of what's going on at the moment, rather than maybe focusing on just one topic and forgetting the overall bigger picture.
Yeah. And then just from a practical point of view, what you actually should be doing from the earlier stage is just think about each element of the interview. So if you need to think about your experiences and how you're going to derive skills from them, list them out and start listing out on paper the skills and thinking about them. If there are lots of skills you haven't been able to think of a source from, start thinking about broadening your base of extracurricular activities. Be open to trying things new. Start working on applications early, and don't open up an application form for the first time 2 weeks before the deadline, because the first one, really learning how intense you need to work on them to get them good, could take weeks and weeks and weeks. Researching the firms in advance means if you suddenly get an interview with a couple of days' notice, which I know has happened to Frida and happened to people before, you know enough about that firm that you can ask interesting questions to the interviewer, which in turn show your interest. Without doing that research in advance, it will be difficult. With the news, Rory's technique sounded really good. You could even read the business news and BBC for 10 minutes every night, paste the most interesting headlines that stand out to you into a Word document. So you then, if you do that every day and you kind of keep related articles together, you start to build a really good comprehensive knowledge of what's going on that you can't do in just a week and a half of panic, cramming in preparation for an interview. You will not come across as genuine, or you probably won't. So it's worth doing. Anything else on this stuff? We've got some sources there that you can take a look at and other places to look.